right, good. Ready to roll?
What is Lamar had one of the best seasons by a quarterback ever last year? What is there left for him to do to improve, or what are you trying to specify?
Well, you said the right word is improvement. We're always trying to find things that we can get better at. Interestingly enough, on the field, we were talking about what he was watching during the offseason. The first thing he said was the games that we lost. He's like, I just want to know how we lost them and what we did, what we do better. So he's already thinking that way. As a staff, we're trying to look at things that we can improve and implement them during this time of the year, training camp, so on and so forth. But him individually, we had great discussions about the things that he wants to improve at and play as good, if not better, than he did last season.
I think it's more pre-snap or post-snap for him.
A little bit of both. It just kind of depends on the play, the call, protection. There's a lot involved in what we do. He has a lot of responsibility in the run game, in the passing game, whether it's getting us to the right run play, getting out of run, the pass to run, so on and so forth. So there's a lot of responsibility goes on there, and there's a lot of preparation that goes on there. So, but we expanded that package. Each year, we're looking for ways to give him more because he's advancing each and every year in all areas of his game. And we grew some this year. We added some new concept, new play calls and things of that nature. And we're going to just give him all the reps that we can to get ready for the season.
See, a lot of great quarterbacks didn't have or had their best seasons in their third. Lamar is still not even being, but does that even make you more feeling like, hey, his best football is good as he can be?
Well, yes, it's a cause for optimism, definitely, being that he's such a young player playing the way that he's playing with so much more to get better at. He's doing a lot of great stuff, but we really kind of comb with a fine tooth the things that we really want to improve on, whether it's footwork, whether it's reads, his eyes, discipline, taking care of the football, things like that. So, but yes, at his age, playing the way he's playing is a really good feeling for optimism for the organization and for his career.
So often Lamar's come into a year with something new, whether it be the way he built himself to bigger, thinner. So have you seen anything new this year from what you saw from him in January?
I think it's more mindset, like during the offseason, really starting with the last game. It was kind of a deep felt loss. The last two seasons have kind of ended that way, with some really emotional losses. And so this offseason, the mindset for him in our conversations that we've had, what he's thinking and what he's verbalizing and talking about is a little different. You see maturity there in terms of what he sees on the field and things that he wants to do offensively. He's having more input back to us as coaches. Like, I see this, I would like to do this more or less. He's doing more of that and just taking his communication to the next level. So that's what I would say about that.
You mentioned
Told him that he wants to have more meetings, both team and personal. Has he shared any of those ideas with you?
Yeah, it really started last year. They were getting together, watching 7-on-7 and a lot of the passing periods together, especially during training camp. Once we got to the season, a little bit here and there if there was something different. But some of the wideouts would come to the quarterback meetings and kind of hang out with us and listen to him. So whatever was most convenient for Lamar, they kind of worked it out. But there's something that they're being more intentional about doing, especially when we get back during training camp. But it really started last season during camp. They would get together and watch some of the passing periods. And once we got to the season, they got together during the quarterback meetings at times. Some of the other receivers stopping in, tight ends would stop in. Zay Likely, Mark, and those guys would stop in at times. To just kind of have that communication with Lamar when it wasn't the unit meeting where they can get more individualized attention from him. So it worked. Those guys got on the same page as the season went, and we saw the production as the season went on.
You mentioned, watching the games they lost, and you brought up obviously the Buffalo game. There's been similarities with Lamar's post regular season play has been at a very high level. Postseason he's had his struggles at times. What has been the conversation about how to be better in those games?
Well, just finishing for the most part. You really think about things like, turnovers and things of that nature, kind of the obvious stuff, right, that he's hard on himself about. The first half of the Buffalo game, just don't do that. And we still ended up fighting ourselves back to really giving ourselves a chance to tie the game up. So and you go back to 23, similar stuff, right? Red zone turnovers, not only just him but other players, right? So that's stuff as a unit that we talk about, that we emphasize a lot. individually as players, nobody wants to do that, right? Nobody wants to do the play or the turnover or the missed catch or missed throw that causes us a game or a drive or a series, so on and so forth. So, but it's an emphasis. You know, we look at everything that contributes to those things, and so yeah, it's on his heart, it's on his mind. We just got to find a way to finish.
Success with different quarterbacks. Is there anything you see from the quarterback side, either film or on the field, that helps shorten that learning curve to developing that relationship with Lamar and other quarterbacks?
Well, just in a short time with D-Hop, I've seen that he's quick study, and he loves talking to the quarterbacks. So that's good from a guy who's caught a lot of passes from a lot of different guys, right? But he's been great. He's been, talking to Lamar about how he's going to run the route and how he expects the ball to be thrown. Lamar's communicating back with him in just a short time. So I can't imagine what that relationship is going to be like after training camp and as the season continues when we start game planning ways to get him the ball and how those guys play off of each other. Rashad, Zay, that whole crew, how we're going to use them in what we do. So, but early on, his communication has been great, and his expectation as a very veteran, highly productive wideout is something that we haven't seen in a while, and hopefully it's a good thing for us.
When you get a veteran backup there, maybe isn't familiar with everything you do, how do you go about building that relationship, and how's that going so far?
Oh, it's going great. I think Coop came in and just kind of took the playbook under his arm, and he was a really quick study. We put a lot on those guys, and they didn't miss a day from football school to OTAs, didn't miss any days, and questions, feedback on some things that they had done in his career in places that he's been that's similar to what we're doing, little tweaks here and there. Some things helped us, some things that we do a little different. But his experience is the main thing, his professionalism. Came to practice every day prepared, got more reps this offseason than he probably got in the last 2 or 3 years. So that was good for him and Devin as well. But I like his company. I like his presence in our room. Brings another veteran leader that has great professionalism in terms of his preparation.
Compared to now, how have your conversations with Lamar changed? Coaching principles or strategies, I guess, you've taken as you've seen him and yourself also adapt as a coach and player relationship?
Yeah, I would say when you're first taking the job with someone as unique as Lamar, you're learning more from them than they're learning from you in a sense. But we were both learning a new system at the same time. So it wasn't like we were running the same system and I was the new coach. It was new coach and new system. So a lot of that was the implementation of the new system. This is how we're going to do it. These are the rules of how we're going to do it. Let's hang our hat on these things. Now you add Lamar Jackson to it and how he sees things, how he thinks year 1, year 2, and now year 3. That bond, that connection, my expectations for him and anticipation of what he would do and how he would think, we just kind of play off each other. It's just kind of like any relationship, right? You're with somebody long enough, hopefully you guys get better at your relationship. But it's still growing. It's still growing. He every day you see growth. Every day there's things that we learn from each other, things about the system, things about football in general that we discuss, and we continue to grow in that direction.
Two more for two.
With a guy like DeAndre, so many of Lamar's passes last year were to guys that were considered open. Obviously, DeAndre is a guy who can turn those 50-50 balls into like 80-20 balls. Is there a skill to like throwing to outside receivers, knowing that you've got to put your faith in them, that at that catch point they're going to be the one to come out with that?
Yeah, that's a great point. And you're speaking to trust. You're speaking to catch radius, stuff that you see with Mark and Zay Likely. You can now see with DeAndre Hopkins, because it's very similar. He's just a wide receiver that can play strong, big, strong hands that quarterbacks love. That's a really good comfort level for a quarterback, when you can put the ball in the vicinity and trust that guy's going to make a play. And not only just that too, but his mentality for going after the ball and competing for the ball. And so we look forward to what that relationship is going to be like. But to your point, that's trust, that's time with each other, working with each other, and ultimately resulting to some production on the field, hopefully.
What you've been seeing Lamar evolve at MVP?
Vocal leadership. vocal leadership. When I first got here in 21, he was the leader by play, by action. There was a lot on his plate. And he was relatively quiet. You kind of saw it a little bit during game day when the competitive spirit starts to show. But being with him every day and being around him more closely, his communication, nonverbal and verbal, you really hear him in the back, having side conversations that weren't the case a couple years ago. And you see more and more of that. You see him now talking with the linemen during practice, talking to Tyler, his relationship with the center, because those two guys have to be on the same page. If Lamar makes a call, Tyler has to echo it. If Tyler makes a call, he has to communicate it back to Lamar. So there's a lot of two-way communication that goes on between the quarterback and the center. And what I'm seeing is, whether it's Derek, a veteran running back coming in that has questions and concerns, DeAndre Hopkins, we had the Odells, we had Nelson Aguilars, we've had guys that's been in and out that's causing him to talk about what he sees and how he feels things. But that's the biggest area I've seen, is the verbal and nonverbal communication that he has really grown and taken his game to the next level.